Let's talk about the humble tomato, a staple in kitchens across America, found in everything from salads to sauces, and a symbol of summer's bounty. But now, this everyday fruit is at the center of a heated trade war, making headlines and sparking controversy. The US government has just imposed a hefty 17% tax on all tomatoes imported from Mexico, abruptly upending a trade relationship that's lasted nearly 30 years and supplied American tables with affordable produce. The goal? To make Mexican tomatoes more expensive, giving American growers a fighting chance to compete in their own markets. But this move isn't just about helping farmers, it's sending shockwaves through the entire produce industry, from field to fork. For decades, a trade agreement kept prices stable and allowed businesses to plan ahead with confidence. Now that certainty has vanished overnight. Importers, shippers, and sellers are scrambling to adjust, facing new costs, logistical headaches, and a wave of uncertainty about the future. American farmers, especially those in Florida, argue this tax is long overdue. For years, they've struggled to compete with a flood of cheaper Mexican imports, watching their profits shrink and their livelihoods threatened. The government's move is meant to level the playing field, but it's ignited a fierce debate among politicians, economists, and industry leaders. Some see the tax as a much-needed lifeline for local farms and rural communities. Others call it a dangerous roadblock to free trade and consumer choice. Companies that built their business models around Mexican imports now face a crisis. Do they absorb the extra cost, pass it on to consumers, or try to find new suppliers in an already tight market? None of these options are easy, and all come with risks: potential shortages, higher prices, and disrupted supply chains. This single decision has thrown a wrench into a massive, complex machine that feeds millions every day. Suddenly, the price of a tomato isn't just a grocery store concern, it's a national issue, making waves in the media and in households across the country. The fallout: uncertainty for businesses, higher prices for consumers, and a scramble to adapt to a rapidly changing landscape. Everyone in the supply chain is feeling the pressure, from farm workers to supermarket managers, all trying to keep shelves stocked and prices reasonable. The tomato tax is more than just a policy change. It's a real-time test for the resilience and adaptability of the entire food supply chain, with consequences that could ripple for months or even years to come. The tomato tariff has created a significant divide within the American produce industry. It's Florida versus everyone else, a battle that has been brewing for years. Florida farmers, led by the influential Florida Tomato Exchange, are celebrating what they see as a long overdue victory. They argue that Mexican growers have been undercutting them for years, driving prices down and threatening their livelihoods. For these farmers, this tariff represents not just a policy change, but a matter of survival in a competitive market. However, in states like Arizona and Texas, importers and distributors are expressing their outrage. Their businesses depend heavily on a consistent and reliable flow of Mexican tomatoes to meet consumer demand. They've invested heavily in infrastructure, including warehouses, logistics, and jobs, all of which are now at risk due to the tariff. Florida's open-field farmers are seeking protection from what they perceive as unfair competition that threatens their traditional way of life. Meanwhile, border states have developed a modern, efficient supply chain with Mexico, offering consumers variety and low prices. The tariff, they argue, unfairly punishes their success and puts thousands of jobs in jeopardy, affecting local economies. It's not a simple right or wrong issue. Both sides present valid arguments, making the situation complex and multifaceted. Florida aims to preserve traditional farming methods, while border states defend a system that benefits millions of consumers. The government's decision will inevitably pick a winner and a loser, with far-reaching consequences for farms, businesses, and even your dinner table. The industry is now deeply divided, and the effects of this decision will ripple across the nation, impacting everyone involved. The tomato war is as much about the methods of food production and distribution as it is about who ultimately grows it. Here's the bottom line. Tomatoes are about to get more expensive, and that's just the start of the story. A 17% tariff means higher prices at the grocery store. Economists predict up to a 10% jump, and that's on top of recent inflation. For many, this is another hit to their wallets. For families on tight budgets, every extra dollar spent on food counts. Even a small increase can force tough choices at the checkout. This isn't just about farmers, it's about millions of households paying more for a staple food that appears in everything from salads to sandwiches. The pain doesn't stop there. States like Arizona and Texas warn of job losses, truck drivers, warehouse workers, and logistics staff all at risk. These are the people who keep our food supply moving. If fewer tomatoes cross the border, those jobs could vanish, leaving families uncertain about their future. Businesses that invested in cross-border trade now face financial chaos. Many have built their operations around steady imports, and sudden changes can be devastating. Imagine building a warehouse for Mexican imports. Overnight, your business model is in jeopardy, and your investment could be lost. Uncertainty makes it hard to plan, invest, or grow. Companies are left guessing about the future, and that's never good for business. Companies may freeze hiring or expansion, hurting local economies and putting even more jobs at risk. The tariff was meant to protect one part of the economy, but it could damage others even more, creating winners and losers in unexpected places. It's a high-stakes gamble. Save Florida farms, but risk higher prices and lost jobs elsewhere. The ripple effects could be felt nationwide. The economic fallout is just beginning, and no one knows how deep it will go. The hope is for stability. The fear is widespread disruption that could last for months or even years. The tomato tariff is a messy solution with no easy answers, and the consequences are already rippling through the supply chain. Everyone's waiting to see just how bad it gets, hoping for relief but bracing for more challenges ahead. The stakes are higher than a simple price tag. This is about livelihoods, communities, and the future of our food system. For shoppers, the tomato war is about to hit home. Mexican tomatoes make up about 70% of what we eat, so a 17% tax means prices will rise. That cost gets passed from importers to stores, and finally, to you. But it's not just about paying more. Mexico supplies a huge variety of tomatoes, including specialty types grown year-round. U.S. farms can't match that diversity or volume, especially in winter. The result? Fewer choices on store shelves and higher prices. Consumers face a lose-lose, pay more, get less. Supporting local farmers is important, but this tariff puts the burden on shoppers. The debate is about what we value, protecting a few or keeping food affordable and diverse for all. Next time you buy tomatoes, you'll feel the impact of this trade war. The tomato tariff isn't a simple partisan issue, it's reshaping political alliances. In Texas and Arizona, politicians from both parties are united against the tariff, worried about lost jobs and disrupted trade. For them, it's about protecting local economies, not party lines. Meanwhile, Florida's leaders like Representative Vern Buchanan see the tariff as defending American farmers from unfair competition. The issue scrambles traditional politics. It's region versus region, not left versus right. Border states depend on cross-border trade. Florida depends on farm survival. The debate forces politicians to choose protect local farmers or the broader supply chain. There's no easy answer, and that's why alliances are shifting. The tomato tariff is a case study in how trade policy can divide the country in unexpected ways. It's a reminder that economic decisions rarely fit neatly into political boxes. To understand the tariff's impact, look at what it replaced. For nearly 30 years, a suspension agreement kept the tomato trade stable. Mexico agreed to price floors, the U.S. paused investigations. The deal was renegotiated 5 times, showing ongoing tension but a preference for peace over trade war. Now that era is over. The U.S. walked away from the agreement, choosing tariffs over negotiation. Mexican officials called it unfair, warning it would hurt both sides. Importers hoped for more talks but got a trade war instead. The collapse of the agreement throws decades of business planning out the window. Predictability is gone, replaced by chaos and uncertainty. The end of this truce is why the industry is in turmoil today. The new tariff has thrown the U.S.-Mexico tomato supply chain into chaos. This isn't just a few trucks, it's a billion-dollar, highly efficient system built over decades. The tariff disrupts everything, creating logistical and financial nightmares. Can we just get tomatoes elsewhere? Not really. No other country matches Mexico's volume, proximity, or year-round supply. U.S. growers can't fill the gap, especially in winter or with specialty varieties. Importers are stuck, absorb the cost or pass it to customers, risking lost sales. Thin margins mean a 17% hit could be devastating. Higher prices may drive consumers away, hurting business long-term. There are no easy alternatives, just tough choices for American companies. The supply chain is in crisis, and survival is now the priority. The tomato dispute raises a bigger question: negotiation or protectionism? Some want to return to the table, hoping for a deal that balances Florida's needs with the broader market. Others argue that decades of negotiation failed. Only strong action like tariffs will protect American farmers. It's a clash of philosophies: global free trade versus protecting domestic jobs. Both sides claim to fight for America's future, but their visions are worlds apart. The outcome will set a precedent for future trade disputes. Will the U.S. be a negotiator or a barrier builder? The path we choose will shape our economy and our grocery bills for years. Step back, and the tomato war is about more than produce. It's about America's economic identity. For decades, free trade promised efficiency and low prices, but not everyone benefited. Florida farmers felt left behind, threatened by cheaper imports. The tariff is their demand for protection, a sign that free trade isn't always seen as fair trade. Now we face a crossroads: one-path negotiation and global integration, prioritizing consumer choice and economic efficiency. The other, protectionism, prioritizing domestic jobs even if it means higher prices and fewer options. The tomato tariff is the first step down this road. The big question: how far will we go? Will we apply this logic to other products? The choice we make now signals our direction as a nation. The tomato war is a test of our values: efficiency or protection, global ties or local jobs. The answer will shape America's future far beyond the produce aisle.